I hate it when I compliment people and they're like, the girls are like, does that mean I don't love you? Hitting the gym. I know, guys, I forget. I hang out with too many women. We take everything the wrong way. Everything. I have to like explain. You realize you have to explain yourself as a woman to women.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd that feel?
I have such a man brain. I think like for me it's harder because I'm like, I don't think like that. Like I don't think like, where can I find the negative in this comment? You know, do we start?
Yeah.
That's
why
awesome.
are women like that? Or why do you think that they're like that?
I think that the easy way out is to say it's our DNA, like it's estrogen. Like I think the easy way is to say it's estrogen that messes with us. I think the other way is to say we're conditioned. We're conditioned to question.
But do you believe that? I hear a lot of women say that exactly what you just said, like you're conditioned. Do you believe that, or do you think, what do you think? Do you think it is genetics?
I think that estrogen and testosterone are really interesting. I think they play a really big part, because I'll tell you why. If you get to know transgender people that are taking opposite hormones and they start to have characteristics of the sex that they're trying to be. So that tells you something. That's kind of, I mean, like I'm not an expert or want to even start on that. I'm just saying, like, from the transgender people I know, like I have a friend who's transitioning from a man to female, and all that estrogen that they're pumping in her is like, it's funny, like we joke about it, like oh, like the ditziness at times, or the emotions, like I burst into tears. I never used to do that. And it's like, that's the stuff that we stereotypically assign to women, right? And it's like, you know, I think it's the estrogen, a lot of it, but I do think condition. I do. It just depends on how you grew up. It really does. I think 100% from the time that we're born, when we hand a doll to a little girl and we hand a truck to a little boy, we are telling them something. And kids are smart.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the devil, but they're the smart, right? Like, I don't know. I don't have kids. But, you know, like they pick up on, they're not dumb.
Yeah.
So we're telling them from the very beginning, here's a very feminine thing. Here's a very masculine, you know, trucks and sirens. And, you know, like, I've got friends who have, you know, I have a very good friend who has a little boy, and he's all into trains and trucks and, you know, ambulances and siren, you know. And it's like, but why? Like, why is he into that? Is that because, like, you, when he was little, gave him a truck, gave him a fire truck, right? Like, if you had given him dolls, would he be into Barbie right now?
I think if I would take that same, I guess, subject matter, and what if you gave a kid, because a kid's not going to do something that they don't want to do, even if you do give it to them. So if you give a kid maybe like some healthy food and they don't really like that, they're just not going to eat it. So I think they're naturally drawn to those things to a certain, I guess,
degree.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination. I think that, like what you're saying, I agree with you. I think that they have like a proclivity to it because of the estrogen or the testosterone, but then we drive it home.
Okay.
We drive it home with that, right? Like the colors. I mean, now they're doing these gender reveals, and it's like they're bursting stuff open. You see, I don't know, you know, like it's a boy, it's blue, it's a girl, it's pink, like. I mean, that, you know, from an embryo, we're like assigning, you know, the color. We're assigning, you know, these toys or this like way of life. Because I do agree with you that, like, especially they say like how little boys are like a lot more rough, you know, like they play. I think that's all testosterone stuff. I mean, there's probably like a scientist out there or a geneticist right now is like, shut up, you people, you have no idea what you're talking about. But I'm just saying from like a layman, you know, that I think that it's probably a lot to do with that flows through, because you do have these like, even though I said to you, I don't know if we were taping yet, that I have a man brain, even though I do feel like I think very differently than the typical female, like there's still thoughts that go through my head that are like no man would ever think. I was like, where did that come from?
Right.
You know, and I'm like, you know, it's a really good question. I think, but I do believe, I think there's a lot of environmental sort of, I want to say environmental, what's the word I'm looking for? Ways of, I think our environment has a lot to do with how we grow up and how, it's like learned versus something taught. Yeah, exactly. Like, all that's really interesting to me. But chicks get like a bad rap, but honestly, for a reason, I mean, we're very emotional.
Do you think that it's hard to be around a bunch of girls?
Only because I get really frustrated with the negativity now that I'm older. Mm-hmm. I didn't before. Like, I would definitely, like, I would say like I'm a guy's girl, but then I also had like very, very good female friends. Mm-hmm. So I kind of go both ways. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, with friendships. But now that I'm older, I'm 100% getting very frustrated with the negativity. Like, you can't just say to a woman like, you look really good, today. Like, it's like, right. Oh no, I'm not. I'm feeling bloated, or it's like this, like, immediately, like, this dismissal. And I get it. Like, I think it's funny. Like, the one movie, Mean Girls. I always quote Mean Girls when she's like, you're Lindsay really Lohan, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, so in the scene, like, it's Rachel McAdams, and she says to Lindsay Lohan, you're really pretty. And Lindsay Lohan goes, thank you. And Rachel McAdams' character goes, so you admit it. You think you're really pretty. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like perfect, because women, I think, feel like if we say thank you to a compliment, like, we're going to be pinned like a bitch, or like stuck up and stuff like that. My mom's like the worst.
With taking a compliment?
Oh, my God. Yeah. You say to her, like, oh, the worst, the absolute worst. Like, yeah. You say, because so my mom was born in 1950. She's a child of the 50s, okay. 50s, 60s, I guess. Like, because you're not really like a child of the decade you're born in. It's kind of the decade after, yeah, but right? Like, that's your, yeah, that's your formative years or whatever. So, but she was born of parents of the Depression, so it's all, and like they had money too. So I'm always like, but she's always about like saving everything. Like tomorrow may never come, or like tomorrow, like there's gonna be a run on the banks, And I was like, you didn't even live through the Depression, Mom. Like, you just had parents who did, Right. She's like stuffing her like leftovers up her sleeve. Like, that could definitely be delicious for later, like tomorrow. I'm like, when are you going to eat that? You're not going to eat that sushi 2 days from now? What? You don't keep sushi. Let that go. And she's like, just pack that up for me. Thank you.
So even like, now, when you go out
now. Oh, yeah. No, she's worse now. Yeah. She's worse now. But a compliment, I would rather, and I love, obviously, building people up, because that's a big part of kind of who I am. Because I think because I was bullied so much, as like, even when I was like, I was bullied when I was in second grade. And like, if you think about second grade, like, you're like 6. And like, if you ever see a little 6-year-old, you got like nephew, right? Nieces and nephews, yeah. They're so innocent and tiny and cute. Like, you are like a baby when you're 6 years old. And I was like, that's when I first remember getting called fat and getting called all those names and stuff like that. So I've definitely, like, I'm someone, I love to build people up. Like, if I'll just say what I'm thinking. I don't feel that like complimenting somebody makes me any weaker or makes me like sound desperate. Like, not, what I'm saying? Like, depending on who it is, like, it doesn't, I think if you look at someone and you feel you want to compliment them, then you should give them a compliment. If I don't think you deserve one, I just won't say anything. So I'm not like the person who gives like a fake compliment kind of thing. But my mother has almost taught me to not even compliment, because it'll be like, Mom, like, oh, like, your hair looks really good. Oh, well, I've not washed it since Tuesday. Thanks, Mom. Whatever you're doing to it, whatever grease is going in to the shape of it, it looks fantastic. Right. But it's like, she'll just give you like this whole like reason of why it's a denial of what you just said. Like, my hair could not possibly look good because I haven't washed it since Tuesday, And so I think like watching her be like that has made me extremely aware of it. So to answer your question, 10 minutes later. But when I'm around my girlfriends, I'm starting to get very frustrated with the way that they'll react. Like, not all of them, of course, that's very, that's too generalized, but like I have this group of girls, there's 4 of us, and we get together once a month. I mean, I'm talking for years, like we've been doing this for 10 years. And we're like beaches plus a couple. Hopefully no one dies, but sorry if I gave that away to anybody. All right. Like they're like, oh, I was just gonna watch that on Netflix. So like, but when I'm starting to see like the way that they talk, and they can't, everything's very, very like, I don't want to say everything, but there's a very negative sort of reaction.
Has it always been like this?
I don't know if I'm more aware or I'm more willing now to sort of call them out on it than I was. There's something about getting older. It's like this is why old people will tell you whatever they feel, because you just get to a certain point and you don't give a shit. We can cuss on here, right?
Yeah,
okay.
You're good. Everybody asked that. Yes,
sorry,
you can.
Mom.
You're good to go.
I thought we could because I've watched it, but I didn't want to presume. But anyways, I don't know. Like, how do you feel? Tell me, like, what do you feel about like your guy friends versus your girlfriends? Do you feel the same way? Like,
I don't really hang out with. I just can't do it with a group of girls. I tried it and I stopped when I was early 20s. I cannot do it. To me, I feel like there's always some type of drama or there's always something that goes along. There's one girl who I can hang out with. 2. One is Jessica. She's been up here before. Then there's another girl, Courtney. Me and Courtney, we were roommates. Like, really chill. We can go out, hang out, laugh, joke. There's never any drama. And I don't like drama. I just want to go, chill, hang out. I can hang out with you like that too, because you're pretty chill. You're pretty mellow.
Yeah, I mean, like, I hope so, because I really I don't think I would describe myself as drama. Well, I mean, I'm dramatic, but that's different. Like, because we're performers.
You think you're dramatic?
I'm talking about like my personality.
Okay.
Like, I like to have a good time or make jokes. Like, maybe that's not like the best definition of dramatic. I'm just like, but I mean, I'm just saying I kind of have like that like personality where I will kind of just go for the joke, or I'll go, like I'm the loudest person in the room kind of thing. But like, talk to me about drama though. Like, because I mean, I agree with you, but I'm just wondering from a male perspective, how were they, just examples of like the drama that they would create?
Usually they're always late. And like, I hate that. Always late, or we go out and then they start talking about some ex-boyfriend, or like they want to call their boyfriend, and then a drunk girl is the worst. A drunk girl is the worst. I don't know what happens to you guys, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I don't know what. I don't understand it.
Because it gets like weepy.
It's either like you're crying or you're mad. It's like one of those two. You're either like crying, like really emotional, or just really mad. It's never like in the middle. You're either crying or you're mad. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. And then I have to babysit them. If we go out, I got to babysit, make sure nobody does anything to you. You would no be guy the grabs your ass. Yeah, I can't. I just can't do it anymore. Yeah. I just can't do it.
There'd be other guys that'd be like, "Here's the curb. Okay,
just
good
chill
luck.
here. Yeah, till I come back.
I'll be back.
Till I come back."
No, I can't. I mean, but that's the thing too. Is I go like, well, I think there's a lot of women that would immediately, they're gonna be listening to this and be like, I'm not like that, and like totally they are, right? Because like I think also women don't want to see themselves as that, but like it's so normal to them. Like they're living in like that's like a norm kind of. And that's, I think, like the biggest thing. It's like, why does that feel normal for you? Like. But it just drives me crazy, especially when you watch like reality shows. And it's like, and of course they edit all that and they push women to kind of whatever, but it's always like the same thing. Like, women are only concerned about very specific female things, and then of course men are, it's like women about beauty, shopping, marriage, kids, and men are like, sports, construction, working on the home, sex, construction, yeah. And it's like immediately like, I'm gonna go, build that sink, in the house, and like work on the car. It's like, what do you have to do on your car? Like, you can't even work on modern cars now. Like,
you really can't. It's impossible, man.
They're like, but I'm going to change this hose because if I go down to the Jiffy Lube, they're going to charge me $5 more. Jiffy Lube. And it's like, so wait, you just worked out on your car for like 2 hours to save $5. You better believe it.
It's worth it.
And but women would be like, charge me double, just get it done. Like, I don't want to do that, you know? Mm-hmm. But I mean, of course, you know, I always have to say there's absolute exceptions to all these things that we're saying. But in general, yeah, I mean, you know what? I mean, it's worse when you go back to the Midwest. Because I was just in Ohio. Yeah. And it's like, oh, man. I mean, everybody, you know, it's just very like, Los Angeles, we're much more progressive. And we forget it. We forget, you know, how many different types of people we have here. But like, you go back to the Midwest and it's like, it's so everything's just so stereotypical, you know, like very, very like what you expect, you get.
Do you believe in gender roles as a couple?
Ooh, that's a good question. You mean like the woman should cook and the man should take the trash out?
Yeah.
See, I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie and say it's really nice, like when a man does stuff like take the trash out. Yeah. Because I don't like to do that.
Yeah, shit sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. Because like I don't like it takes like, you know, upper body strength that I don't have.
What are you doing?
That was me pulling that bag out. Okay. Sorry, Mom. This is the whole thing. To be like, sorry, Mom. Sorry, Ryan's mom. No, I mean like, okay. I do not believe, like, I'll take the trash out. Well, I mean, I have to. Like, I don't have a man, whatever. But like, I will not say that I expect that to happen. And if you did not do it, I would be mad at you. I wouldn't say that at all. Okay. But I do think that couples, because I've been in a long relationship, naturally fall into sort of those roles of like what they do, you know, kind of do or whatever kind of thing. But see, I'm not a good cook. So sorry to my future man or whoever lives with me, because it's not going to, you know, it's not going to be, you know, me in the kitchen cooking. I can make a really good lasagna. That's about it. Okay. Like kind of thing. So, I don't know. Like, but see, I'm also not like that feminist that's like, a man better not hold the door open for me. Like, I will be disgusted.
How do you feel about that?
Open that fucking door. What are you talking about?
So if a man doesn't open the door for you.
Oh, I wouldn't think anything of it.
Okay.
But I would be happy to walk through the door that's held up. And I'll tell you why. Okay. I don't like to touch door handles.
I don't either.
See?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're both going to be reaching for a door handle one like time with our shirts.
Yeah, I do that all the time. I do it at the bottom of my shirt. I got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I'm OCD. It's not because I'm like an Uber princess. It's just because I don't want to touch it. But that's a really good question.
So would you consider yourself a feminist?
Okay, that's a good question. So
I think it's changed.
Yes.
The term has changed.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
It has become a dirty word. It has become a dirty word. And then there's this whole conservative, and you know this because you read about this. There's this whole conservative, like underground conservative fight against feminism. Literally, where they say feminism kills, and you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's crazy. So, okay. So if you ask me if I'm a feminist, to me, feminism is just the equality of a man and a woman. I do believe I should get paid the same amount as you if we're doing the same job and we have the same skill level. I do not believe I should get paid more or get that job over you because I'm a female. Right. But to not get paid as much doesn't make any sense just because I have, boobies. You know, hey, I got to carry these things around. Pay me some more money, right? For the chiropractor and for the massage therapist. So that's the thing, but I'm not like, I don't know. Like, what's feminism to you? What do you mean when you think it's changed?
When old school feminism is exactly what you just said. Me and you, we have the same job, same skill level. So we should be receiving the same amount of money. I strongly believe that. Right. But now it seems like feminists are saying that they want to be treated exactly like men. And then like guys, we're like, do you really want to be treated like, I'm not gonna, that would suck so bad. I don't want to be treated like a man sometimes. Sometimes I wish that if I could be treated like a woman, I would not care. Women have it, I mean, there are some downfalls to everything, but you guys have it pretty damn good. If you find a good man, you know, you have it pretty well. But I would, if they did a show where women are treated exactly. Take those same feminists and put them on, like, I don't know, some Big Brother house or something like that, right? And they have to go out into the world and they're treated exactly like men. I wonder how long I don't think they understand really what that is. Like, it's fun, it's cool being a guy, but there are a lot of things that aren't so great with being a guy as well.
I completely agree with you. I mean, maybe like might be like where we are too similar to have this conversation, because I'm sure there's a lot of women that want to jump in and be like, that's not true, but I wouldn't 100% agree. I think that there, like you said, there's this idea that they want to be treated equally, but like what do we get away with like throughout the day, or special treatment that we enjoy? And I will, and I'll probably get hate comments for this or under comments, but I mean, I don't care, but I'm like, I think that losing the aspects of what makes a man and a woman is very dangerous. Okay. Because I do believe that we complement each other. I mean, if you're looking at a heterosexual relationship, of course, like, and I'm heterosexual, so I won't speak for anyone else. If you're looking at a heterosexual relationship, we are meant to complement each other. We are meant to pick up where the other leaves off, because it's this whole joke we keep saying about, a man brings out the trash, whatever. But there's things that a woman does better than a man.
Absolutely.
And so if you're in a partnership, that's awesome, because you're covering like all the bases here. So like, why fight each other on the stuff that you don't do well or you don't like, right? When you can say like, hey, he's my man and he's gonna take care of that, the same way that the man's gonna say that's my woman and she's gonna take care of that. Right. To be so far down the like feminism hole that's not okay, that I don't like, that scares me, because I really do believe that like I said, for heterosexuals, that it is a beautiful way, like, if you're with the right person, you got to be with the right person, right. But it is beautiful the way that we complement each other when you're with the right person. Like, it's just unbelievable. It really honestly is like such a great thing to witness. So I would say, for me personally, I definitely don't, believe that women should be second-class citizens, and I don't believe they should be beat, and I don't believe they should be, paid less. I don't think, we should, not be able to drive a car or whatever. If you look at like in Saudi Arabia, when this stuff is still happening, women are stoned to death if they show an ankle. I mean, obviously, like, those are extreme cases. But as far as here in America, I think, I just think it's getting so out of control with the Me Too movement as well. And I do believe women. I 100% believe women. But it is...
Do you believe them every single time?
Not every single time automatically. You can't do that. Yeah. That's completely unfair.
Some people do. Some people do.
Yeah. And that is so far beyond the way I think that I can't... I don't even know what to say about that.
I was watching some reality show, and there were these, it was like an engagement party. All these women were sitting at this table, and they had brought up some woman who accused some politician of some rape or whatever, and all the women were like, yeah, he did it or whatever. And then the girl was like, well, what is the evidence? And she got so much shit just for asking that. What is the evidence? Or I think that's dangerous if you just automatically assume someone is guilty and you don't even have any type of evidence of anything.
Absolutely. That's what I mean, you just like, that's the scary part right there, right? And then, like you said, if you actually, logically say, well, what's the evidence? Or let me just ask, what are the details?
Or like, what happened?
What happened?
It doesn't matter what happened. I'm like, it kind of does matter.
That does. See, that's, that's what scares me, like right there, because for now, of course, you have to say statistically, the cases of women lying about like rape are very, very low, right? But again, what happened to the whole, you're innocent until proven guilty? Because this will spin us into a subject that I'm very interested in. Okay. And I'm not just talking with like extreme cases of like murder or rape, but I do think as a society, we have a sickness. And our sickness is automatically judging people without the facts.
Right.
not just like in the whole, like, did they do, but just like what, like, absolutely, if we hear the drama of the day, we 100% send these people to the guilty verdict without a jury. And that I don't think we were based on that, right?
Why
if you go back, because you know what, and to talk about us tying in what we were talking about earlier, I think we are 100% more interested in the negative and the drama.
That's what I was thinking when you said it. It does. And it's more interesting.
It's just more interesting. Mm-hmm. Isn't it so much more interesting to gossip about like that than be like, I don't know, that guy, he had a clean record and he wasn't around that night and it looks like that was doctored. That doesn't seem as interesting as
it's not as fun. It's not as attractive to you to say something like that.
Bingo. Mm-hmm. That's it. And that's where I'm going back to like what I was telling you about like my girlfriends, where I'm getting really frustrated because it's like, it's this like we're drawn to the negative is the best way for me to put it. Like the drama, the negative, the I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Like maybe I'm a Pollyanna at heart. I've always described myself as a Pollyanna. Like I will always kind of like, I will always kind of see the good in somebody before I see the bad. Mm-hmm. And people don't do that. Like they are so quick to judge.
You know what else is crazy? Even if someone, let's just say someone says that Jamie Foxx is a pedophile, right?
Yeah.
So he goes to trial and everything. Even if it ends up being a complete bullshit lie, right? That aura of pedophilia will still be around him, and people will still look at him a certain way.
100%. Thank you. This is what the minute you thank you for saying this. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what I'm talking about because this drives me crazy. The minute you are accused of anything, and it doesn't matter whether you're Jamie Foxx or like you're in a company, you get accused of stealing staples. Mm-hmm. Even if you are proven or there's no evidence, right? Or after a lengthy trial, you are proven innocent. What you just said, it's like a blood stain. It will never go away. There'll always be those people that are like, oh no, he did it. Mm-hmm. And you're like, but wait, he was exonerated. He went, nope, he did it. And that to me right there is the worst part of human, like like I said, our society, because it's more interesting, like you said, it's more of like a gossipy water cooler kind of conversation to talk about somebody's sins and assume their guilt rather than go, what if?
Do you think people do that to make themselves feel better about maybe their lives, their own lives, or what they're going through? 100%.
This is getting some good stuff, because like the next thing you have to ask is, once you establish that, right? If like we're talking about like what we encounter throughout the day, and like you said, people who are out there, take whatever topic, and people will 100% believe, what's a good example is Michael Jackson.
Yes.
That's a good one, because of there was no evidence and he went to trial a bunch of times of like his pedophilia, but there are people out there that would like swear on their children's lives that he was a pedophile. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter. The evidence doesn't matter. I don't know. I think, if you discussed Michael Jackson, interesting. I don't know where you are with that subject, but the man is in the grave, obviously, but it does not matter. Mm-hmm. I think there could be like an angel could descend from heaven and be like, he did not touch those boys, and there would still be people that was like, he totally did.
I did it.
Yeah, he did it. A grown man does not sleep in a bed with other children. He was diddly diddly do.
Right.
You cannot, like, I think you can't, once people make up their mind, especially middle America.
Right.
Signed, sealed, and delivered. Like, you're done.
How would you handle a situation like that?
An angel coming down telling me Michael Jackson didn't diddle a boy?
No. So if someone accused you of something that...
I have been accused.
Really?
I have, yeah.
Do you care to share, or...
I can't, actually,
because
of the whole legal proceedings and stuff like that, but I was. And there was no evidence at all for my wrongdoing. And I mean, I won the lawsuit and all that kind of stuff, but there's still that stigma. I mean, obviously, it's probably why I'm being very passionate about it, because there was still that stigma, I feel, of like, oh, well, you must have done something. It's like, well,
I think that's what most people think. Like most people will think no one will make up a story this insidious about someone else. Yes. So it has to be true.
Yes. And you know what my answer to that is?
What?
You don't remember they're sociopaths. Sociopaths.
Yeah.
Sociopaths are among us. And they will, sociopath. Okay, so sociopath, like, so they're the base, like, the quickest way to describe a sociopath is a person that is completely void of any empathy. They don't know the difference between right and wrong, right? I mean, you know this, but for the people at home, because people think like psychopaths, and that's something different.
Right.
Like,
I know what a sociopath, but I don't know what a psychopath is.
Like, actually, you can be a psychopath, because I've now have my armchair psychology degree, but no, you can be a psychopath but not kill people, by the way.
Yes,
I know that, like, so okay, so you know about sociopaths. So we do not talk enough about mental health in America. End of, like, we just drop the mic and walk out, like, that's it. Like, we don't talk enough about it, right? So sociopaths will 100% fabricate and create lies in order to get what they want.
Right.
And there is a lot of them among us. So what you were just saying is so on the nose. We're so on the nose today. Sorry.
Killing it
Liz
today.
is just crushing it, because you're so on the nose when you say that people will think that a story could not be fabricated like that by someone unless it was true. And they are. They are fabricated all the time. And the victims of the sociopathic behavior, because that's sociopathic, 100% the definition of it. So the people who are victims of that go their whole lives with this sort of stigma in various degrees,
right.
But I mean, there's few people know about it, or like on grander scales, of that. But that's like what you said, is that even if you are proven guilty, even if there's no evidence, there's still the people that will say, but how they would never have been accused of that if there wasn't some ounce of truth, right? There had to be something,
right?
I mean, what about you? Have you ever been
accused of anything? No, because I don't put myself in. No, I can't even say that. I was gonna say I don't put myself in like crazy situations, but even because a lot of people they don't do that either, but they still get caught up in some bullshit. So I don't know. I've just been blessed and fortunate to surround myself with, like good people, for like a better term.
And that's good. And also being aware, like if you are, I think that's. I mean, I completely agree with you. Like, I think a part of my issue of being a little Pollyanna-ish is ignoring the signs and not thinking that people can do that to you, and the instincts are there. I mean, our instincts are there.
I listen to them.
And I didn't. I mean, now, that's the whole, my dad used to say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You're not gonna fool me twice. Like, that's,
Do you remember when George Bush messed up that saying? You remember that? That's what I thought you were about to do it. I was hoping you did, so I could laugh.
You could laugh at me.
So I could laugh. I was gonna give me a good laugh.
Idiot says that. What do you say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
You can't fool. He said something like, "You can't fool me again." It's something weird like that. Yeah.
No. My dad used to say that so much that was burned into my head, and he's right. I mean, you have to learn from those situations, but that. So yes, so this is obviously a very interesting or personal topic to me, because I've been a victim of that. And
must suck.
Oh, it doesn't feel good.
That must suck.
I'm not
and like
lie.
the anger. Were you more upset or angry or hurt? I would be anger. Oh yeah, I'd be angry all the way.
You know how people, the first thing they say is karma, and I'm like, karma's the name of my baseball bat, and I want it to bash them.
Did you ever see that person again outside of court? If you did now, would you fight?
Oh, yeah. Like, it's so hard to say, like, what would you do? Because obviously you shouldn't physically touch them, right? But like what this person took away from me, It'd be worth spending a night in jail just to have like one crack at them. It really would.
What do you think? Trump said this a little while ago, and I'm paraphrasing, but he was basically saying that people, because they're so protected now, that they feel like they can say anything they want and kind of get away with it because they know there's no repercussion. And you saying that how it's worth spending the night in jail, do you think that maybe a little bit of that should come back?
What part?
You shouldn't be like, if someone says something to you, you should be able to hit them. And, you know.
I think they're I hear what you're saying.
For what
so
you say and do.
If somebody tried to destroy your life, why do you not have the right to at least take one punch at them?
Yeah,
I know, but that's that whole eye for the eye, eye for an eye thing. I mean, I think there was less crime,
when there was an eye for
the eye for the eye in the biblical
thing.
times. Yeah. I mean, you didn't steal bread because you got your hand chopped up.
Right.
You were like, I want my hand. Bread, hand. Bread. I'm going to take my hand.
Yeah.
Nope, going to keep my hand today. I agree a little. Wait, did I just agree? Did I just agree with Trump? Shut me down now. Yeah. Shut this down. Close this off.
He didn't say that. He said something like that during one of his speeches.
Close this off.
Just
okay.
a little something he said, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like an eye for an eye.
I'm checking the camera for the back fat just a little bit there. You might just need to cut this off.
You're fine. Okay. You're good. I think an eye for an eye is good on a certain scale. Certain things.
I mean, I think that you don't, not you. I mean, people in general do not know what it feels like to have somebody purposely set out to destroy your life. And you want to kind of be like, yes, we should handle it in a civil manner. But no, I think if you are somebody that has evil intentions, there should be something greater for you. But the law says let the law handle it. But I think I know our system is so broken.
It's pretty fucked up.
And lawsuits are won not by the innocent person, but by the person with the most money. That I know. I know that I'm as much as I know that I'm a woman, you're a man, we're taping the show. That is what it is. So we take the law to be word, and it's no, the law is only who was able to hold out long enough financially to get the verdict that they wanted. That is true. That is actually very true.
Yeah.
So boy, sorry, I went down the rabbit.
That's all right.
Oh,
that's all right.
The bunny was boiling in the pot.
I want to go back to gender a little bit.
Yes.
What are things that women don't like about guys?
I love this. I could not wait to talk to you about this.
Yeah, because I asked one of my other female friends. She couldn't give me an answer.
She couldn't give you an answer?
Yeah.
What? Was she feeling shy that day?
No, not on this, but just in general. Oh. Yeah. She couldn't give me an answer.
Oh, I can tell you exactly.
Let me give you. I'm going to see if I can help with this.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, wait. You're helping me?
No, just in general, some things that women wonder about men.
Oh.
I can tell you what.
Wait, you said what women don't like about men.
Yeah, don't like about
Okay,
men.
Well, they don't like that men will not guess what they're thinking at all times.
We're not mind readers. Why do women do that? That's so
They
frustrating.
do not want to say what they want. They want the man to guess what they want.
But why?
Because it's easier that way. It's they don't. Okay, so they think why should I have to, okay, I'll tell you, this is the situation I had with those girls I told you I got together with once a month.
Yeah.
So the woman, she's a woman. She's married, and they adopted a little girl about a year ago, right? Couldn't get pregnant, infertility for years, finally adopted, the miracle child. She loves this kid, it came, floated down a river. This is her child. So women. Okay, so here's the example: is that she goes like, I'm doing all these things, like I'm making the dinner and I'm taking care of the baby and I'm doing all the, like, why can't he not just take the trash? Like, why do I have to tell him to do it? So that's the mind, and because we're going back to the trash, we just keep using the trash example.
Yeah.
So the mindset of women is they don't want to have to ask because they feel like men should just know it needs to get done. And what I told her is, men don't think like that.
That is true.
It's not that they're not necessarily not doing the task. It's that they're just literally thinking about the car show they're watching or the video that they're doing or whatever works that they're up to. They're not thinking, you know, hey, my wife just finished feeding the baby and finished the dog, meal prepped for the entire week, cleaned the bathroom. I should take the trash out. They just like, right? I mean, you're a man.
Yeah, we don't think how you all think. And another thing is, if you were to ask a man that, like, what would you want your woman to do? He'd be like, oh, I would want her to do this and this and this. But we don't expect you to know that. So we will just tell you. Or if we don't tell you, we just won't say it at all and we'll just do it ourselves. So, like, we don't hold things and for, like, days and be upset about them. And we just don't do that. I never understood that. And then I hear a lot that men are horrible with communicating. I don't think we are, because like I just said, if we want something, then we'll say it. How we're feeling, either we'll say it or we'll just hold it in and just let it go.
When do you think you get to that point that you let it go? I mean, like when you say let it go, do you mean explode or
no.
like let it?
Yeah, just let it go. Like whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not that deep.
You know, I don't. This is such a good question because I don't know what the answer is. I think like women in a way kind of want like their man to be connected enough to them that they don't like.
That's impossible.
I know. I mean, I think it's absolutely irrational, but it's like they hint, and men don't pick up on the hint.
Yeah, like, what? What are you doing? What are you trying to say? I don't get it. Just say it.
And that drives me crazy. It's like, you know what? Because you know why I think as well as like being trained as an actor, and you are trained as an actor, you know that you go through your different ways of getting what you want.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What's like one of the first things you learn, right?
Yeah.
Is what do they call it?
Your tactics?
Right now. Thank you.
Yes.
This is why you're here. So the first thing you learn is so like theater 101, right? Doesn't matter. And you learn like how are the different ways that I can get away. So that's what drives me crazy with women. I'm like, if you've been doing the same thing with your man over and over again and you're not getting what you want, change your tactics. Change the way you ask. But they don't do that, right? Like you said, they just kind of continue, the same, behavior over and over again and expect different results, which is the definition of insanity, right? So yes, so I agree. Like I said, I have a man brain. I agree with you. I think like it's like you have to. Well, here's the other. I just heard this the other day. Not to interrupt my own self, but I will. But I think also, do women try to be what men want though? And so if they ask for something, then they feel they're stepping outside of this sort of persona that they've tried to create.
But for men, we want to do things for our woman, especially if we really care about this woman. We don't mind doing them. Like, just tell me what you want so I can do it. Okay. That's how we're very simple. Just tell me what you want and I can do it, or I can figure out how to get it done.
So how long though?
How long what?
Think that goes on for?
What do you mean?
Like that you want to do that. And the reason why is because I feel like the women that I've spoken with have been in these long-term relationships where the man stops doing that, like stops wanting to do stuff for his woman. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that's kind of tricky because if me and you are together for a really long time, right? If every time you want something or you need something, if you just tell me, then I'll get it done. The problem comes in when you just stop, or you just. I hear this so much. Well, he should know, or he should know that I want this, or he should know to do this. I'm like, well, he doesn't, so you have to tell him. When you don't tell him, and then you start nagging or getting upset, and then that turns us off. That turns us off, and that pushes us away, and then we just slowly start to not care anymore, and then we.
But where does the nag come from?
Where does the nag come from?
Mm-hmm.
When, let's take the trash, right? If you say, Ryan, can you take out the trash because I'm cooking dinner? Boom. Okay, yeah, I got you.
But would you, sorry to interrupt you, would you take out the trash right then?
No.
Okay.
Maybe, it depends. A lot of times, from what I hear and what I see, women want it done on their time.
Yes.
I want you to take out the trash. I want you to do it now. And
yes.
I'm like, well, the trash isn't bothering anybody. I'll take it out when this goes off, or when this is on commercial, or when I'm done with whatever I'm doing. So if you just say, hey, can you take this out, and then just let me do it on my time, as long as it gets done, why do you care when I'm taking it out? Unless it's like something stinky in there, then yeah, I kind of understand that. But if it's just regular trash, I'll take it out when I get to it, you know. And then that makes when you nag us, that makes us feel like a child. And then we'll take it out, but we'll do it with an attitude, you know. So now both parties are upset over something that's so small, over some trash.
So let me ask, because maybe you're just a superior male specimen, but what if a woman asks in that scenario,
right,
and goes, okay, on his time, what if the man doesn't take it out that night, and he doesn't take it out the next day?
Then you have a right to be upset, because you asked him to do something. Then I will go back to, hey, like, I asked you to take out the trash. Can you take out the trash? Now, if he's just completely ignoring you and neglecting the fact that you asked him to do this simple task, then yes, you could be upset about that. But it doesn't.
That's what I'm wondering.
I just don't see it happening like that.
But that's because I don't know, because I'm wondering that. Because I mean, the reason why is because the story that came from my girlfriend, and it's very similar to the trash thing, but it was a desk that they had taken out of their attic, and it was something like she had called for a bulky pickup, and they got the desk down, but it got like halfway across the lawn. And I guess I can't remember the total details, but the desk needed to make it from the lawn to the road, because it was gonna get this bulky pickup.
Okay.
And she asked her husband to do that.
Right.
Like whatever, and then he didn't do it.
Okay.
And then again, so then you ask again, like you said, because that's the thing about it, is like if you ask again, you're starting the nag kind of thing. And he didn't do it, and it was like, okay, the sprinklers went off, and then the whole thing became, became wet and soggy and disgusting. And she was like, tomorrow I'm gonna call for the bulky pickup, like tomorrow, and he didn't do it, and it just sat there, and it missed the bulky pickup, right? And so that's the frustration.
It just sat there on the yard.
Sat there in the yard.
Then he's wrong. He's wrong.
He's wrong.
He's wrong. Yeah.
But this happens, I think, with women, where it's like, what do you do? Because you want to trust that the man is going to do that, but there's a lot of men that just don't end up doing it. And so then you ask again, and you become the nag, you become the bad person, and the shit doesn't get done. And I mean so that's where I hear a lot of that, because I do agree with you, and I'm sorry, I'm not with women on it. Like, if you ask your man to do something around the house, as long as, of course, like you said, it's in a reasonable amount of time, it can't be on your time clock.
Right.
And a lot of women, it is. A lot of women, like, they want it done right then, kind of thing. And it's like, well, he's not your slave. He's your husband, So, like, hire somebody then and pay them per the hour if you want that. But yeah, so that was the whole thing, was that he, was not taking this desk out. And so I said, of course, like, there's something more psychological going on. Because see, like, my ex told me in, like, anger, which is like, the truth comes out in anger, that sometimes he wouldn't do what I asked him to do just because I asked him to do it.
That happens as well. But normally that happens if a man is being nagged a lot, then he's like, I don't care what she asks me, I'm not doing it. Or I am gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it when in like a week. They'll do things. I know that we say that women do things out of spite, but men we do as well. We'll do something like that just to show you that, you know, like I'm not, like you said, I'm not your slave. I'm not your kid. Yeah. I'm a man, or I'm an adult. You're an adult, so I'll move when I move. So yeah, it's.
See, that I agree with right there is like the I'm not your kid, because I don't have children, and so I cannot speak to that, but I do really think, sorry friends that are watching this, I do think women who have kids end up treating their husband like one of the kids. And that to me is the beginning of the end. And
I don't understand when I have friends and they've been with their husbands for a while, right? Or significant other or whatever. And I forgot what I was about to say. Oh, they complain about him. I'm like, well, was he like this when you met him? He's like, yeah. Well, this is like, this is him. The only time I take that back is if they have a kid, if they have children, because both people have to kind of step up their game a little bit. But if you're just living together and he was like this if he played video games when you met him, then that's who he is. He's not going to stop it just because you don't like it.
Yep. What is the famous quote? If someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Maya Angelou, I believe.
I have no idea.
Oprah said it, but I know she quoted someone.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's a big problem with women, is women think that they can change men.
What's another one?
With women?
No, that women don't like about guys.
That they won't do things on their timeline.
Okay.
What then? I mean, I think it's a lot of like motivation, right? Like women are always kind of like, it's like they're always kind of like wanting to go like do what they want to do and be out on their own thing, and that men will not sort of like be a partner to them. I hear that a lot.
To go out and do the stuff that
like when you're out, like when they're out, they won't pull their weight. Like when they're like out and about or doing stuff, which goes to like a woman having to do everything.
What do you mean?
Just like all like, you know, you just hear women say they have to handle everything, right? Like the kid is crying, the kid needs a diaper change. Like I have to do. They're planning a trip. Say they're planning a trip to like Disneyland. A woman plans everything from the beginning to the end. She's got to get the tickets. She's got to get the hotel room. She's got to get everything like thing. So it's like I hear that a lot. Like, why do I have to do everything? Like, it's exhausting. And then I say to them, are you doing everything though because you want it done your way? Because that's a big thing right there. It's like, I do think that men, you tell me, like, would men be more likely to do things like, you know, whatever that a woman needed him to do, if he didn't feel like she was going to criticize him if it wasn't done right,
or if we wanted to do something that we thought was fun to us, or like if me and you together, right? You want to go to Disneyland. I have no idea. I know, okay, we're going to get tickets and I can get the car gassed up and ready to go. But there are so many little things that you would want to do. Oh, I want to go here and see this and go here and see that. So in order for me to know that you want to have a good time, I will let you plan it and then I'll just pay for it. Because if you plan it, I know that you're going to be happy and then I'm happy if you're happy. I don't care what we do. Okay? But if you want to have a good time, then you plan it and then I'll just pay for it, or however it gets paid for, and then that way you will have the trip that you want.
Have we cloned yet?
that would be.
We need to clone you immediately. We need a clone right now.
That's how it is. And then
you are now going to be a science experiment. But that's amazing. But I mean, honestly though, sorry, Ryan, I don't think a lot of guys think like that. I don't.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm saying from my experience, but that's what I'm saying. Like from my experience, and especially from like what I'm hearing, is that women have to do like the so-called everything kind of thing. It's that idea of like remember we said earlier, I do truly think men and women have like yin and yang, right? Like they, you know, one, they start where the other, you know, leaves off. And so I think though, like what I hear a lot from women, like that men are not pulling their weight or doing enough. But like we said, if a woman is treating her man like a child, he's gonna act like a child, right? Like you said, like, you know, if we feel nagged, if we feel whatever, we're just not gonna do it.
Yes.
And that's a child. That's very childlike. Because that's the thing, is I have very strong opinions on like men and women and children, which I probably don't have a place to talk about because I've said multiple times I don't have kids. But I read an amazing article about it, and then I became fascinated by the subject, so I kind of looked into it a little bit more. But this idea of like when women have children, they like push their man aside, and it's like their child becomes number one, right, in their lives. Okay. And I do not agree with that. I think that if you throw that balance off, like what made that child, or what unit got that child adopted, or what what unit brought that, how that child came into the world or came to live with your family, if you break that bond between a man and a woman in your relationship, you're throwing everything, I think, off kilter. And that's why I disagree with women who make their children above their husband. Because I read this article and it was very controversial about like the old, question of like, if there's a car barreling towards your husband or your child, which one are you going to throw out of the way if you can only save one?
Who would you save?
I would save, who I say, if it was me,
yeah.
I'd save my husband.
You really?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's controversial. But that's like, my husband and I are what began, and we're what is strong. Because now going, God, we're amazing going these callbacks because children are so perceptive. Well, don't talk about this now, dead child. The child is not dead. But go back to like our family's alive, right? Like you and me, we had a kid. Okay. Children are so perceptive and they're smart. What did we talk about, right? Like with the toys and stuff, but also with mommy and daddy. And if you show that strong unit as parents, and that your child, right, it's like pack mentality. And if you throw that off balance, it really does, I think, I know, unsettles children. And they feel that. They 100% know like something isn't right here, the way that mommy talks to daddy, or the way, And so if you say we are a unit and we are strong and we come, we're at the top of the triangle, and then everything else comes down, I think you create such a strong family unit, and you teach your child about relationships, and not just heterosexual relationships, any relationship. You teach them about how staying strong together and being supportive, and how that absolutely forms a household. Right. And like you said, that unbalanced, children know, they 100% know, like, and that's what my friend was talking about. I hope she doesn't mind me telling these stories. Was like, she's now at this point where it's very contentious with her and her husband, and they fake it. She told me in front of the kid, 10 plus years, and then just had adopted this baby a year ago. And she tells me that they got into this like argument, and she flicked him off, and the baby turned around and almost caught her. Almost caught her, and it was like a wake-up call for her a little bit. But I said to her, I go, she may have missed it this time, but she's perceptive. She can feel that tension. And she's like, well, no, we try, we make a point to have kissy time. Yes. Now, how does that sit with you?
No, you can still feel it. Even if somebody's faking it, you still right? know.
Yeah. Like, if we've just been weird, like hating on each other, like, how that feels. And then you're like, oh, let's have kissy time for baby. That baby knows. The baby knows, yeah. Right? You tell me how you feel about that.
That's what I think so, yeah.
Would you be a part of that?
Be a part of what?
Like, would you go along with that? Like, my relationship is like having to fake it for the baby?
No, only because I feel like that's going to hurt the child in the long run.
Yeah.
Because as the child gets older, they're gonna know because they're gonna live their own life and figure out, oh, this is what this means. Oh, they're really not happy. They're just, I don't know why they're still together. And so then that child may end up being in a relationship like that. I think it would be better just to separate and explain to a child why you separated. We just aren't, whatever you're gonna say, just be truthful so that they'll know. Don't lie to the kid, because eventually you're gonna have to tell them the truth.
Exactly, but also they know so far before you tell them. Yeah. Or why not give your child the opportunity to witness a healthy relationship, if you can? Yeah, like you said,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, split up and then
hopefully find somebody that matches your crazy, and you can show your child a healthy relationship, right? Like, yeah, no, because I'm like 100% my mom. My parents should have been divorced when I was like a freshman.
How long are they still married now?
No.
No. How long were they married?
They were married for 25 years.
Ooh. And
they should have been only married for 20 years.
Okay.
But what my mother did was she kept him in the house. She kept my dad in the house. But I was a little bit older. So, I was in high school. End of middle school going into high school. And it was like the whole daddy sleeps in the office life.
Yeah, that's weird.
And it was horrible. It was awful. And like I don't blame my mom. Like, I'm not gonna like, I'm 41. I'm not gonna be like, you kept daddy in the house. I don't blame her, because she was she made the best decision that she could in that moment.
Right.
But really, like,
why does she want him to stay?
She thought it would be more secure for me to keep to have him in the house to finish out like my high school years, like then figure out I go to college and stuff like that. It's crazy. I see what she was thinking, but like, what I'm saying is I watched them instead of being separate and happy, I watched them be together and effing miserable. I remember, because like I said, like, no matter how old you are, when like it's not working.
Right.
And so I would on top of everything, I was an only child.
Right.
So hi.
Ah, man. Yeah, that probably sucked.
There was no one to help with the pain. So
but was it bad? Was it miserable, or were you just like,
it was
they
bad.
got their own stuff? Okay.
It wasn't miserable per se, but it was bad. Like, it wasn't great. Like, it got worse.
Okay.
But I just remember doing one of my first high school plays as a sophomore, theater.
What was it?
I don't know why I just had to define what a play was. We were doing Rumors by Neil Simon.
Okay.
Rumors?
Yes.
It's just classic, like, amazing. I love it. One of the best comedies written. And I remember, and I had the lead. I played Cookie.
Ooh,
I know. I loved it. Like, bad high school acting. Everyone thought they were a star.
Right.
And I remember stepping out on stage and looking, and we had this beautiful brand new theater in my high school. It was like state of the art. And I remember looking out, and I happened to catch them, but they were sitting like two rows apart. And being like, that was the first time I really realized, like, my parents are not, they're not getting back. Like, this is bad, kind of thing.
What was it? What do you think it was? Maybe they just grew apart?
Oh, I think 100% my mother stopped caring about my dad. And I do think that men need to be taken care of.
Did he love your mother still?
No.
Oh,
wait, you mean like after all the...
No, okay, you said she stopped caring, but when she stopped caring, do you think that he was...
No, I think it took a long time for him to be neglected. But he was neglected. And my mom was like not an easy person. No, I was a daddy's girl. Like, my dad was the safe person in the house. It wasn't that typical gender roles of like the father being the disciplinarian. Like, my mother was the disciplinarian, and my dad, like, he put up with it for a long time. He did. But
because he loved you so much?
I think me a lot, yeah. But like, so my mom, like she's the oldest of 7, and there's 5 women, and they all disrespected their husbands or their relationships.
So why get married then?
To have somebody to beat. Yeah, I was saying that like as a joke, and then I was like, no, it's actually true. They did me. Where did they learn it from? Where did they learn it from? That's what I like.
Grandmother?
I'm kind of like, and like my mom worshipped her mom, and like my grandmother is no longer with us, and I loved my grandmother, but I didn't know her the way that like maybe she was. And so like I found out later in life that like, so my family got together all the time in our cabin in Michigan. We had a lot of property up there that my grandmother and grandfather owned. And so we spent like all summer together with the extended family. Thanksgiving, 100%. Christmases for a while, but then it got too cold in Michigan to drag everybody up there for Christmas. But for a long time, most of my life, we would spend all major holidays together. So I found out later on, because I was the first of 14 cousins. And I found out later on that like before like all the siblings would go home, that my grandmother would pull them in like one by one and have these like private conversations with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, what was being said, kind of doing this thing, because all of those women disrespected their men, like treated their men.
Why did they stay?
Like abusive.
What did they say?
Which one? The men?
Yeah.
Oh no, they eventually all
left.
Yeah, somehow it wasn't one way or another. Some in body bags. Some
like murder.
I'm joking.
Yo, you got me.
You're like
he murdered
them?
That was good. You got me.
I think we were so serious for a second that I had to lighten it up. But no, because I remember being like in the cabin, and like we had this thing like for Thanksgiving that each couple would take like a night to cook. And I just remember I have this memory of, it'd be fun, right? If we were like, we're going to do, whatever, nacho night, because that's all I could cook. Nachos. Did you notice I immediately came up with nacho night? Like that's a night.
Really? How come you never? Well, finish your story, then I have something.
So I remember being like in the other room and just listening to
you could hear them.
My aunts, though I grew up in like a verbally abusive like family.
Okay.
Like they would 100% like tear down their men to the like flesh, like to the bone. 100%.
What would the men do at that time? They would just take it?
Yeah, I mean, they would kind of in varying degrees like try to sort of diffuse the situation. It's so interesting now. I would like to shoot a documentary where I go find all my ex-uncles and be like, why did you stay? Just ask that one question, like run away. But why do people stay? Why do people stay? Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where you felt like you were being...
Only once when I was younger, because it was familiar. And it was it was like my very first like love, and it was so familiar.
What do you mean by familiar?
Being around her was I was used to it.
Ooh.
So even though she wasn't a mean person, but we were just going 2 different paths at that time. So when it was time for us to break, we broke up, and then we got back together because I think we were both like, this is familiar and it's safe. I know this feeling, so I can handle this.
Where'd you meet her?
School.
Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, I think that's the main reason, just because it's safe. And then I'm like, I thought that I wasn't going to find that again, how I felt and be in love with somebody else. I'm like, there's no way I can find anything else like that.
The butterflies.
Yeah, how I felt about her. But then going through that hard, it wasn't a bad breakup, but the aftermath of that breakup was me dealing with that. All that was just terrible. Once I got over it, and then I'm like, oh, I can care about somebody else even more than what I cared about her. So once I figured that out, then I was fine. I mean, breakups still hurt now, but I know I'm gonna be okay.
Right. But how verbally like, how would she treat you? She was verbally abusive?
No, she was she cheated. So that's what ended it. So she cheated, and then we got back together. Because I tried to make it work, but it just didn't work. So
yeah, like why we kind of peg men as like so easy to run away, but we don't talk about the men that really do stay and try to make relationships work. But also too, is it because like men don't want to admit that like a woman can, like, he's being verbally abused, like that, you know, like the going back to like gender lines and like masculinity and stuff like that, like like what support group do you see out there for men who are verbally abused by their wives?
I saw this one story on BuzzFeed, and there was like a little gnat or something.
Maybe
I saw this one story on
nose now.
BuzzFeed, and they have this support group for men who were verbally abused and physically abused as well.
But like, do other men make fun of them for that?
No.
Don't you?
I'm lying. Some men would. I wouldn't, because I understand that that's a legit thing. Like, if you're like me, even if me and you are dating and I'm not gonna hit you back if you hit me, because I know your punch will probably hurt, but mine will do a lot more damage. Because like my body structure, I'm more thick, I'm more dense. I can take that hit, but I don't think you could probably take mine, but it'll
it's
fuck
gonna
you
hurt.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hit by a man.
Really?
I have. Yeah.
You told me about that. Yeah. Did it knock you out?
It didn't knock me out, but I mean, it almost broke my nose.
Yeah.
Oh, I will never forget the way that felt.
Yeah.
Like, actually, you see stars. You do see stars, because if you get hit in the face.
Yeah.
Because I got hit like right between my eye, like, and your eyes explode. You know, there's an explosion. You know, or whatever. But you never forget how that feels. I don't understand men who punch each other. Like, it sucks.
It just feels different. Like, if a guy punches me and. What do you mean? Like play fighting?
No, not play. I'm saying like men who like box each other or like punch each other or look for fights. Like it's not fun getting hit in the face.
But that adrenaline, when you're fighting, you feel it less because the adrenaline's pumping so much.
Yes.
Like, you'll feel it the next day or maybe like an hour later, but during the time you're just so upset you just want to.
That's true.
Put your hands on something.
But your face, it's like hit me in my body, but not my face. Like your face.
I'm with you. I would never be a boxer. You don't hit me in the face.
Yeah. I mean, not only because we have pretty perfect faces, but
pretty amazing.
But that's like your body. I feel like you can recover, but it's when I don't know, something so disrespectful about your face.
Because you're growing up, your face doesn't take a lot of hits. Like your body. Yes. You're used to like banging your body on like a door or something, so your body kind of gets used to that. But then your face, and then the bone structure is so thin up here, you know.
There's just something about women who hit men, it's like a lot more predominant than men won't admit.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
It's a pride thing.
Yes.
Because that's what I was saying. Like, this was a support group, you said, for men who are verbally abused, but you said
some of them were physically abused as well.
But I think like for a lot, so many men that would never admit that because their friends would be like, "Pussy, really? You let your like ball and chain kick the shit out of you, pussy." Right? Men are still like that.
I know that is true. And I've known a lot of guys, especially in the military, whose women, they hit them. I'm like, what?
Wait, they're military men? Their women hit the military men?
Yes.
Whoa.
I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I'm not going to say who it was, but I saw he was married, right? He had this itty bitty wife. He wasn't as big as me, but he was like a decent size, like an average guy.
Yeah.
We were at this family fun day. No, I was at their house. We left a family friends day or whatever. And they were arguing, and she like cocked back that little fist and just hit him right in the face.
In front of people?
Yes. I was like, what the hell? And then the guy I was sitting beside, he was like, yeah, they fight all the time. Well, she hits him all the time. So then when we were alone, I was like, why? Like, what do you do when she hits you? He's like, normally I just walk away. I could not be with someone who hit me.
No.
I couldn't do that.
I can't imagine that you would.
I couldn't do that. And I don't think I could hit a girl. In order for me to hit a woman, you would have to like stab my mom or like about to shoot me or something. You know, like it would have to be a really legit reason for me to hit you.
It just reminded me of that scene in Deadpool, the first Deadpool, when he's like fighting the chicks. Like he's like, "What's right here?" And like, you know, this idea of like if a woman's attacking you, if you defend yourself, but it's still a woman. You know, like for a man, that's where I do feel sorry for men. Like you said, like I feel like if a woman is attacking you without a weapon, do everything you can, because you're just always, it doesn't matter how big you are. Yeah. A man will always physically be able to overcome a woman.
Yeah, just push her down.
Unless she's, you know, Ronda Rousey or whatever, but just push her down,
even
push her away.
With Ronda Rousey, like she's strong, but
she could take out a small man.
Yeah, but I mean, a man can just grab, we're just physically stronger, so just grab her and hold her.
Right.
And do what you got to do. I don't think it has to be like a whole.
Just like you would be able to, yeah, you do it. But if a woman's coming after you or your family with a weapon,
she got to get it.
Every right.
Yeah, she got to get it. She got to get the hands.
You have every right to defend yourself. You know, I mean, like.
And even still, I'm not gonna. If you're coming at me with a knife, I'm not just gonna beat the shit out of you just because. I'll probably just give you one solid hit. Yeah. You know, just to let you know I'm not fucking around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what? Do you think that women kind of get away with that behavior because they can?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Wow. See, I don't. That's what I want. That's what I wanted to avoid, because like you grow up like watching that, and you grow up. You know, like I did not want to be in that relationship. You know, like whether it was verbal or whether it was physical.
Right.
Like. Because it was just like, this isn't fun. This isn't fun. It's not to be like, Lindsay thinks like all relationships should be fun. But if you're at a point where you like get to verbal and physical abuse land often, like
it's done.
There's something wrong with your relationship.
Either you go get help or it's done.
You go, exactly. Like, but people live in that. They think it's normal.
How do you go home to that every single day?
Right.
I couldn't do it.
They think it's like I think that a lot of people really do not think of it as being abnormal. I really don't. Like, it's that like you're doomed to repeat the mistakes. Like, how was your household growing up?
My parents, they were married for about 13 years. And then it kind of got to a point where I'm like, you guys should get divorced because.
But why?
They just weren't happy. You could tell they weren't happy.
Were they hitting each other?
No.
Were they verbally abusive?
Mm-mm.
See, that's what I'm saying. But kids know. You don't even have to get to being abusive. But if you're not happy with the person, your kids know.
And they would still laugh. We could still go out as a family, and they would laugh and joke in front of us. But we would. Because it wasn't that bad. We even asked, like, why are you guys still married? Like, just get divorced and go do your own thing.
What would they say?
I don't remember. I can't remember.
But it took them a while.
It took them a while. Then they were... Oh, because, they wanted a family, you know? They wanted this stereotypical family and everything. I'm like, we're still going to be a family, even when you're not here. Because when you go to work, we're still a family, even though you're not here, you know?
Yeah.
So...
I know.
Yeah,
but it's hard on people, like you said.
They're both happy now.
But I think it's like ripping off that Band-Aid.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. Like, I know for a fact that my parents had to get divorced or somebody was going to die. Mm-hmm. Probably actually, literally. Like, all jokes aside, someone was going to die. Like,
when your grandmother would have these talks, would the husband be in there?
No.
No. How did your grandmother treat the husbands?
My grandmother was one of those love the one you're with kind of women. Like, everything, like if you say if you and I were together and my grandmother was still alive and you made her a cheese sandwich, she would say, Ryan, this is the most delicious cheese sandwich I have ever had in my life.
Right.
Like everything, it doesn't matter what it was. Everything somebody did, it was the best. Mm-hmm. And see, I think she had guilt for having 7 children, even as a 19. You know, I mean,
but why guilt?
Because it's too many. It's too fucking many. That's why.
7 kids is too many.
I think for her.
Okay.
I think for her it was too many.
What happened to the husband?
He was around, but I think like my grandmother was like, she went to college, which was very rare for someone in her time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, well, let's see. My mom is now almost 70, and she was born in 1950. So my grandmother, I think when she was like in her 20s when she had my mom. So she had, I'm bad at math, but like when you were a woman of like the 20s and 30s, mm-hmm. like you're not going to college, you're getting married, and right. Kind of so like
she finished school.
They weren't even like nurses and teachers back then, they were housewives. So she went to art school, she went to Wellesley, she went to a great school. I mean, because she grew up with money, which helps. Mm-hmm. But I think she wanted to be like I think she wanted to be a woman of the world, and she ended up because of the time, having all these kids. And so she wasn't like bad with them, like, but I think she couldn't handle making each one of them feel special without doing it the wrong way. And the wrong way is making everyone feel like they can't do anything wrong, because all of those kids feel like they never do anything wrong. Mm-hmm. So that was the mistake. Because if you've got kids out there, anyone who has kids who's listening to this, teach your child that they are going to be wrong more often than they're going to be right, and how to say that they're sorry. That's it. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that like would solve so many issues between humans and in our country, is just the ability to accept when you've done something wrong and be okay with it. But especially this generation, there's no accountability for their actions. They have an excuse for everything. So because like, were we talking about this where I heard that like the millennial generation, their parents are called helicopter parents. Yeah. Right? Did we talk about this?
Yeah,
and they're like helicoptering around, hovering, or whatever, hovering and like, making sure whatever. And now this Gen Z generation, they're called snowplow parents. So they're just moving any obstacle out of their kids' way. Mm-hmm. Right? And like that's dangerous, because like again, we're not learning accountability. Mm-hmm. And that goes back to like male female gender lines and stuff like that. Is like, should women be able to get away with certain things like that where men can't?
Right.
It's like this double standard, kind of thing. So, but physical violence is never right, obviously.
Right. It doesn't matter who's doing
I don't think
what.
You should ever put your hands on someone else. But it's hard when you're, I've been there, I'm not going to lie, especially like when you're passionate and you're mad and you're like anything, I want to just
I think everybody's been there. Yeah. Of course you wanted to do it, but you just don't. You walk away, you do something else,
Yeah, well, that's hard when it's passions are flaring.
Is it?
Oh, I think so for a lot of people. Yeah. Because I watched it with my family. Them just like fly out of control. Like you could see when they hit red. Yeah. And it's like done.
See, I will never let someone get me to that point, to being that upset. If I feel myself, I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. Because I know when I'm getting there, because I'm thinking of something mean to say. And when I hit that point, I'm like, okay, no. Because like, this is not right. I shouldn't be even thinking about this. I care about this person. I'm doing all this thinking while I'm arguing at the same time. So I'm having two conversations. So I leave. I'm like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care.
It's that duality in your head. You're looking for like, are you looking for like what could hurt them?
Yes, just to end it. So I'll leave and then I'll come back. We have to finish it. I can't have something just unfinished. Right. Whatever it is, we have to finish it.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah, that day. Or,
like I don't understand people who give the silent treatment, like for days. No. Like that drive me crazy. Like we're gonna talk. Like we need to finish this. Mm-hmm. Like I love the whole like never ever go to bed angry. Ever. Never let that fight go to the next day.
I sort of agree with that. I can understand going to bed angry, but we still have to talk about it. I'm not gonna go to bed with something that is unsaid that you have on your mind. So we still need to talk about it and get it all out. And if you're still upset, then I understand that, because you're human.
But at least you're saying we'll deal with it tomorrow.
No, I'm saying everything that's on your mind right now, say it all right now. Don't go to bed with anything on your mind.
Right.
So say everything that you need to say, and then I'm going to say everything I need to say. And then if we just agree to disagree, or we come to a common ground. So if we just agree to disagree and
I agree.
Yeah. Then I mean, sometimes you might just go to bed still a little upset
Yeah,
because
yeah.
so much has been
Oh,
going
I
on.
see. Yeah, you're
That's
not going
what I
to
mean.
bed like, oh, I'm so glad we had this conversation.
Right, because that's, I mean, people is.
I see. Yeah, it may not be totally resolved, but
Yeah.
you're not going to bed like, fuck you.
Yeah, yeah. Good night.
Good night.
See you in the morning. Yeah.
But okay, so you got cheated on, which
Yes.
is one of the worst things ever. And how did you respond though? If you like when you say like, you walk away, like,
Right.
or you're angry, you won't let your anger get there.
Yes.
But look, I can see it in your eyes right now.
That what?
Like, I don't know. I could just see like you thinking about that and like how that made you feel. How did you not go like ballistic? I'm not saying like how did you not beat her, but like how did you not let your emotions overtake you when you found out?
I mean, I was upset and I was like yelling and everything, but I didn't think of anything mean. What is the point of saying something mean? I've said something mean to one girl that I ever dated, and then I called her the very next day and I apologized because I felt like shit when I said it.
What did you say? Can we ask?
I'm not gonna say.
Okay.
And like I never called her. I've never called.
Was
a
it
woman,
a comment on like her like looks?
No.
Oh, okay.
I've never called a woman a bitch or a hoe. I've never done that. Because you can't take. My mother told me this when we were very young. I have an older sister and a younger brother. When you say something, you cannot take it back. Even when you apologize. Even now, even though I apologized to that woman the very next day, and like,
yeah,
because she was understanding. She was like, I understand, and I know you didn't mean it, but so it's okay. But I still know, like, I still said it. And she still had to hear that from me. And I think that was the worst. But what was the question?
Yeah, no, you're answering it. So it was like, how did you not go there?
Oh, so when I'm getting that upset, because I think about everything I say. I never understood how people can say I don't have a filter. So you just say whatever's on your mind. Yeah. That's very dangerous. And I've never been like that.
Like you have Tourette's.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you have to think about the things that you say. I think about the things that I say, and if it's just too much, then I either walk away from the conversation or just find something else better to say. I'm not into hurting feelings.
Where did you learn that?
My mother.
Is that what your mom would do? Mm-hmm. What would your dad do? Was he similar?
When they were arguing?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I've never heard my mother say anything negative. Even when they were divorced, she never said anything negative about him.
She's an angel.
Yeah, my father never said anything bad about.
Whoa.
So yeah,
that's like but you do recognize how unusual that is.
Now I do. Now that I'm older, yes. I thought everybody's parents were like that, but they weren't. When I was growing up, I was picked on a lot, same as you. And
for being adorable.
You were crazy. So I never. Thank you.
I've seen the pictures.
Adorable.
They were like, "You're too cute to be around here. Get out of here." 3-name serial killer. No, what would they pick on you for?
I was chubby. They did mainly. I mean, that was it, man. I was chubby, and I hung around a lot of girls because growing up, I just like hanging around girls.
And girls liked hanging around you.
They probably did.
They knew what they were doing.
I don't think their boyfriends did. So that was like the big thing.
They knew what you were doing. But that's where kids will get each other is on the weight. Yeah. Right? Doesn't matter what, like, doesn't matter your sex, your ethnicity, like, no, like what? Fat is the one thing that binds us all, if you think about it. Like, I'm just saying, like, this has always been my, like, little, soapbox is, like, say you hate, Chinese people or Asian people. That doesn't even have to be that specific, but you just hate Asian people in general. Well, and you say you're white. You're never going to be Asian, right? Mm-hmm. But fat, being overweight, that's something everybody can be. So that's where they'll get every kid. Like,
but that's why I was never mean to. I know what that feels like. Even now, being as old as I am right now,
Ancient.
I still remember what that feels like.
Is it bedtime? Wait, it's like 5 o'clock. It's time for you to
whatever. So I just never wanted someone to feel like that because of me.
But it was mostly they'd make fun of you because of the weight.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
My mother always said, never steal someone else's joy. And that stuck with me.
I love that.
Never take someone else's joy.
I love that. See, like, why do we not raise children to just have that simplicity of that simple phrase?
Everybody's so free now. I want my child to figure it out on their own. They're free. Everybody's a free spirit now, and it's kind of weird. You have kids that are 8 years old, little boys who want to be girls, so the parents let their little boys dress up like girls and change their name and stuff. The world's crazy.
I mean, where do the kids learn that like? So that was one thing. Oh boy, I'm gonna forget. Oh, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yes.
Years ago, because she's got 3 kids with Matthew Broderick. And Sarah Jessica Parker.
I know she is. Yeah, I don't know Matthew Broderick. I did not. She has 3
for
kids
Ferris Bueller. They got twin girls and a little boy.
I'm so glad you didn't say 2 twins, because I hate when people say
two twins. Is that 4?
That's 4 kids. Yeah, there's no such thing. I mean, there is a such thing as 2 twins, but
I think that's quadruplets.
Quadruplets, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So they have a set of
I'm
twins.
So glad I didn't say that either. Yeah, okay, but it's funny. People do say that. So she said in an article that she did not, and this was years ago, that she did not allow the F word to be spoken in her home.
Okay.
Fat. Because it's like, where do...
You said fat?
Fat.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like fuck or faggot or something.
No,
okay.
The F word. She would not allow the F word in her home because it's like, well, that's where do kids learn to make fun of people for being fat, right?
Just other kids.
Well, but where the kids learn it. See, now this is going all the way back to how we started this conversation because we are brilliant. Is conditioning.
We did this on purpose, by the way.
We did not. We so did this on purpose.
Yeah, we did it on purpose.
Holy crap! But we're just professionals. Yeah. We make it look easy because we scripted it. No, just kidding. We didn't.
No, we did.
Because like the very first thing we talked about is the conditioning.
Yeah. And
we are conditioned to like how are we conditioned? Like we hear it. We experience it. We feel it. And where does it begin? With your caretakers and your environment. And then it, who touches you every day when you're a little kid, like growing up and stuff like that. Because that's all. Like I've always wanted to explore that as like how do children, very young children, know or think fat is bad?
Right.
Why? I mean, if their images of their mother usually are breasts, which should be very, good, and like women, hips and like being a woman, like, so where does that come from? So that's bringing it all the way back to, like you said, are we victims of our environment and conditioning, or like DNA? I mean, I think it's obviously a combination of both. But why are kids so mean? Don't you think kids are mean?
I don't have an answer for it.
Yeah.
Some kids are very cruel. Very cruel. And I don't know. This is one that I have nothing to... I don't have an answer for it. I don't understand why kids are so mean.
I think a lot of kids don't have an outlet for their pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have an outlet for their pain. Because again, like when you're in those formative years and you're trying to like, deal with all the hormones and you don't know why you're feeling this way, and I think that's just very natural for humans to, protect themselves, and you protect yourself by thinking of something mean to say to somebody else, like you said with your women. Like you're thinking of a way to hurt that person, because you do learn that words hurt far more than physical.
Yes.
Because that's going to go away.
Yes.
It's like that proverb when you were bringing this up earlier about your mom. And she's very wise. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. She's awesome. Does she listen to this?
I think so, yeah.
You think so? She's like, she turns me off an hour ago. But it's that proverb about that, like, that father and the son that go to the fence. And the father, says, son, put these 10 nails. You've heard this one?
I think so.
But yeah, so nail or hammer these 10 nails into the wood, and he does that, right?
Yeah.
And then he says, now pull these out, and it's the whole sort of, and I'm sure it's much more beautiful than my mumbling right now, but the whole metaphor is that even though the sun takes out the nails, the holes are still there. So that is what verbal abuse is. It stays, even like you said, even if you apologized, which you did, that still stays there. That hole is kind of there, because I've had people say stuff to me and it's like, there's no turning back from that. Like, I'll forgive you, sure, but like there's always that part of me that's like, when they're around,
well, especially if they get upset, you're like, this person gonna
exactly, because my mom was like that. My mom was so quick to anger, and then like crazy, like hitting me with a wooden spoon, crazy, and then 30 minutes later she'd be like, we get dinner's ready. And I was like, you crazy bitch.
Is she still like that right now?
Oh, no, not now.
Okay.
Not now.
Did you ever talk to her about it?
She denies it.
Really?
All of it, yeah. I think she doesn't remember. I don't know if she remembers. But again, I think, you know what? Going back to what we were saying, my parents were in a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And she was unhappy, and unhappiness radiates. It's a virus. And she was unhappy.
If you were unhappy, would you leave
a relationship?
Yes.
I would tell my man what I was unhappy about if I thought it could be fixed.
Okay.
100, and I have. Oh yeah.
Did it help?
For a time being.
Okay.
And then it went back.
Okay.
But I stayed far past the expiration date.
Why?
Because I don't give up easily, and I get attached to people, and back to, I believe in people. I'm a Pollyanna. I believe in the best in people. So if I've shared part of my life with you, you're not going anywhere for a while. But if you can't overcome your demons and I can't overcome my demons, then yeah, I mean, it sucks though.
Yeah.
You know this.
I'll stick and I'll try to make it work, but at some point I have to be like, okay, this isn't gonna work. And even though I care about this person, in the long run, we're gonna be like this. It's probably gonna get worse, so I'll probably just end it.
But have you been with a woman though that's not there mentally? She's like, she's not leaving you.
What? Say it again?
Like, have you been, like, when you've been at that point with these women, have they been like, no, like they're not ready to leave you?
Once, and that was really bad, and I stayed a lot longer than I should have, so that made it worse when we were breaking up. I was like, man, like, how could I? Then I felt bad. I'm like, how could I do this to this person, like make her cry like this? Then I felt like an asshole. But
was it because you were trying to be kind by staying?
I was trying to make it work. I was trying to make, I felt like, not to sound cocky, but we were on two different levels. She was very nurtured growing up. So the things that I knew how to do, I felt like I was like a big brother at some points. And I was like, you don't know how to do this? Okay. So I stayed with her to hoping that she would like make her way up there, but I was enabling her to figure out life on her own. So so then when I ended it, it kind of forced her to do that, to grow up on her own and figure things out on her own. In
that moment, were you able to see that you were enabling her?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I knew it.
That's pretty progressed.
Yeah, I knew it.
Wow. Now she couldn't see it.
I never asked her.
You don't ask her now.
I never
we need to do an episode where like you get your phone and we just start calling her. Do you know?
But I'm still friends. But we actually spoke maybe a week ago. She's doing amazing now.
What? Like, how's she doing?
Like, she knows how to do. Man, she's so independent now. We were, talking a little bit. She's super independent. I was like, you know what? I'm very proud of you. I'm extremely, and I was, and I still mean that. I'm very proud of her. She's kicking ass right now.
Would you ever get back with her?
Probably not. No. I mean, that ship has sailed.
Why though?
Why would I?
I'm just curious. Like when you say that ship was sailed, is it because you have like a no take backs kind of policy, or?
No, I think that's a stupid thing to say as well. Some people are like, oh, I never go back. I'm like, well, why not? If the person changed and you changed, then why wouldn't you go back? Maybe you met too early in life. You were supposed to meet that soon. You know. Some people get these little mantras and these little sayings, and they're so diehard about them. I'm never going back. I don't know.
How can you say it never? It's like you said, even if they feel it in their heart, because they have that rule, they're not going to go back. Okay, so this I want to ask you about.
Okay.
What about people who fall in love but crossing the ethnic line, and their families would not approve, or their support system, like their culture, their world, and they decide to not be with that person because of the fact that same thing with like religion, but I want to talk about like color first. So like I want to hear your thoughts on that, like about like people who meet somebody obviously of like a different ethnicity, but like their world and their culture would frown upon them being with that person, and they're like, this is the love of my life, but I have to walk away.
I think that I'm not gonna say that's stupid, because I understand how your support system can influence your decisions and everything, but I don't think that's a very wise thing to do, because you're gonna die eventually, right? So why would you pick somebody that you're not in love with? Why not be with this person who makes you happy? Me and you, why wouldn't I be if you make me happy and I like being around you? Why wouldn't I be with you? Because my mom doesn't like you, or because my uncles say that I should be with the black woman? I'm not with that. Not with that. But
do you have friends who would make that choice not to?
I don't think so.
Or know people in your life?
I don't think so.
Or have family?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Interesting.
No.
Because I've known people who are
really?
Can't
I would not do it. Even if I love my mother to death. Even if she said,
hi, Mom,
never, or don't bring like a white girl home, or don't bring home anybody who's not black. I'm like, well, then I'll be seeing you in a couple years, because I'm dating this young lady right here. I love her to death. So if you don't want to see me, then we just won't see each other.
But she wouldn't say that to you.
No, she always told me to go out and find somebody she said, as long as they treat you right, that's all that matters. Go out and explore. Yes.
So I, recently was having a conversation about the same thing with another African-American gentleman.
Yes.
Do we say African-American or black? Let's just settle that right now.
I don't care what you say.
What can we say?
Just say black.
Can we say black?
Yeah, just say black guy.
No, I just want to know.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be disrespectful, but I don't know. Like, honestly, don't know what we can say anymore. Because then I heard, like, saying African-American just drives everybody crazy.
It just depends on the person. Everybody's so picky about stuff when it doesn't really matter.
I mean, okay, so there's this other black guy.
Yeah.
And he said that, and I was asking the question, too. Like, do you date white women, or do you, and of course he, doesn't have like a specific color that he dates, but he said ultimately he will end up with an African American or black woman because it's just easier. It'll just be easier
in society. Okay.
That was kind of sad to me.
Yeah.
That was sad to me. Like, it really was, because I was like, well, what if you find like a, Latina or, Asian, like white woman that you just know it's that person that gives you those butterflies and that and you choose to not be with that person because it's just not going to be easy, but I get it too. On the other, I see exactly what he's talking about, because society gets weird.
Would you really care what society? I mean, why? I don't understand why people. It's not like if it was back with like in the 50s or whatever, I can understand that. But now being 2019, unless you're in the deep South, like no one's really gonna give you a second look if it's like an interracial couple. Nobody's really gonna care.
In LA though.
So no, even in like Virginia, nobody, because I don't know.
See, I don't know, because I would have said exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
100%. And I was with this guy down in Orange County, which for folks that don't know, it's like so conservative and very, you know, so much money. And we were just walking around like a shopping center and then like went to like a CVS, something stupid, and people were looking.
Really?
Yes. And I wouldn't have really noticed it, but he was pointing it out. They were looking like what, like trying to figure out our relationship. You know, like we didn't really look like we belong. You know, we didn't have like, you know, they were looking. I mean, and maybe he's just hyper aware or hyper.
I think that has something to do with it as well.
Whatever. Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm like, you know, like, I'm like squirrel.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention at all. You know, like you said, if I'm into somebody, it doesn't fucking matter. Like that's where, like, especially being a woman, I think women, like, will move mountains to be with the man we want to be with. Like I will cut a bitch to be with the man I want to be with. Like, you will not stop me. You know, like, it's war if I can't, you know, like, I mean, that sounds dramatic, but I just think like women, I feel like they don't take that like no kind of thing. Like, we can make it work. Yeah. And for a lot of men, they end up falling. I think we've talked about this before too. They end up falling in love, not with like the love of their life, but the woman who is there when they're ready to settle down. Have we talked about this?
No, we haven't, but I think that's.
So tell me what you think about that.
I think that's
because I've heard that theory.
True statement. Let me go back to the interracial thing.
Yes.
So I feel like black men get it especially bad for the interracial because
from the black community.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but like if a black girl gets a white guy, it's not. They just don't get it that bad. And I think I talked about this 2 podcasts ago. If you look at how when Tiger Woods got shit because he married a white woman. So did Kanye, so did Kobe, you know. But then when...
Well, she's Latina, but does that not matter?
Is she?
Yeah.
He still got like a little bit.
But it wasn't like, she's not black.
Right.
Okay.
So they're like, you're going to, you know, leave, I don't know. So, but then when... what's her name? Who married Prince Harry? Her.
Oh,
Meghan
girls.
Her. And then Serena Williams when she married her, who wasn't. Everybody was like, "Yeah, you go, girl. Yeah, do your thing." But with us, it's like, how can you like leave your sisters? I'm like, what? Do we owe you now? Do we? And I always wanted to ask somebody that, but I just don't want to go too deep into that conversation. Like, what I feel like
is there like a black Buddha somewhere that you can go up, like who sits on a hill and you can go up and say like, what, you know, what does this mean?
And it's crazy because it's always the like black men, we don't care if we see like a black girl with a white dude, we'll probably say something, but like, we don't really give a shit. But the black, they get so upset, and I'm like, what do we owe you? Why do you think that we're all yours and nobody? What do we owe you?
Do they feel like it's because other ethnicities are less likely to date them? So it's like taking away.
I don't know.
I'm asking. I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm gonna ask my friend Jessica because she's pretty prolific on these things.
Don't black women get like a reputation too
of being like the least? Because they did a survey and like black women were, I think, the lowest to be dated. I have to find that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna find that and probably link it at the
bottom. Which is crazy. But like,
I don't know.
And especially like a successful black woman.
Yeah.
Is like the least likely to be able, to whatever. So like the intimidation or like, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, but no, but I like, that's what I wanted to ask was like you said, it's like this question of like, so I owe you this even though I'm in love with someone else. That's hard. Yeah. You know, or like attraction. Like there's attraction out there. Yeah. Because there's like that whole, you know, that's the other thing too, is like there's this whole like stereotype of, you know, black men being attracted to like bigger women. Right? There's been bigger women, bigger model, like there was there's like a plus size model who's very big in the BOPO community, the body positive, you know, community.
Is it Ashley Graham?
No. Oh. She's amazing.
Yeah,
she's married to a black man.
Yes, she is. Yeah. He got some shit too. I remember that.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's Latina, but again, just
is she? I thought she. Oh, I don't know what she was.
I think she's half white.
Okay.
Yeah. She's got something, some color. She tans up way too.
A little extra, yeah.
She's a little extra.
Beautiful woman, though.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, it's a good looking woman.
And then she's done a lot for the women, the curvy women. Mm-hmm. A lot. I mean, such a trailblazer, honestly.
She is.
So no, this was not. This was another model. Her name is Tess Holiday, and she's a big girl, and she made a comment years ago about like, she was like on a shoot or something, and I don't want to quote her, but it was like, oh yeah, when I go into a black neighborhood, I know all the men will want me, or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like something that could be perceived as a very, innocent sort of comment, but mm-hmm. people went nuts. Mm-hmm. Like, how dare you? Like, they said she was racist for assuming that.
No, they probably got upset because it's probably true. If you go to a lot of athletes, right? A lot mm-hmm. of these athletes come from like the hood, right? In the hood, you don't see that many white girls, or like all you see is like black women, right? So that's all we know. So when we go out and we see something different, I remember the first time I saw a Hawaiian girl. I was in college. First time I saw a Hawaiian girl, I was in college. So if you take these guys that have all this success now they're traveling and everything, they're seeing all these different kinds of women. So of course, if you've seen something like brand new, you'll become attracted to that. It's just
like their menu got twice the size. They only had like one, if you could only eat like, burgers, mm-hmm. and all of a sudden, you got all pasta, fish, like everything. Yeah. Like I would be like, I wanted to.
So I think like black women take it as a slap in the face. Like, oh, you think that she's better? Like, no, I don't think she's better, but I like the way she looks too. I like mm-hmm. the way you look, and I like the way she looks. So what's wrong with that?
So there's this really interesting thing. It's I'm gonna try. I can't think of the name of it, but I wish we could Google. But it's that where you are pansexual, where you are not attracted to the ethnicity or the gender. You're attracted to the person. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Pansexuality.
Yes.
I mean, at first I thought it was like you really attracted to the pan flute. But apparently it's not.
What?
The pan flute when they
Isn't
play,
that
like yeah. Like in the back in the days of the jesters, the court jesters and stuff. But no, apparently it's not that. Okay. No, but so there's this because I had an employee that because I have a small business, and you never talk about sexuality or anything, with your employees, obviously, because that could all be considered harassment. Mm-hmm. So I had one of my other employees say, so-and-so is pansexual. And I was like, no, I didn't know that, but how wonderful. We're so inclusive here. And then I had to like Google it because I had no idea what it meant, Mm-hmm. And I just find that interesting because it's like, can we truly be attracted? Can we truly not see gender or ethnicity? Like,
no, you're gonna see it, but you can choose not to pay attention to it.
Right.
You see it. That's impossible to not, unless you're like a blind person. But you can choose not to let it affect your decision making on if you like that person or not.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
No, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, which obviously I'm not pansexual because, I mean, like, I think women are amazing, but like, I love men. I love everything about men. Mm-hmm. I love the way they smell. I love the way they talk. I love the way they look. Like I just like I'm when I see a man, I am attracted to him first and foremost because he's a man.
Yeah.
I mean, a good-looking man or whatever, but like I like the aspects of men that make them men, kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, there's this idea that they don't see it, and I'm like, I don't know about that. But what I think I'm interested in what you're saying is like they have to see it; they're just able to put it aside.
Yes, I think that's what they mean when they say that. They should probably change that wording because that's impossible. You can't see it, like you just don't see it.
Like you unsee gender.
Yeah.
Like I see you, and I'm like, look at this lovely person here. I don't see those muscles.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like you know that this person is a man or a woman. You know that they're like black or white or Asian or Latina. You know what they are.
But let's go back to body types,
yes.
and attraction to certain body types. Why does the stereotype exist that black men are more likely to be attracted to a bigger woman than like a white man is?
I think throughout history, the black women have always been like curvy and thicker. So it's just, we've always been around just curvy and thicker women. So
like just genetically?
I think so. For the most part, black women have always been just more curvaceous and just had more meat on them. So I think it's a comfort thing because that's what we know. So that's what we'll gravitate to. Mm-hmm. Same way as...
It's going back to what we were talking about.
Go.
No, it's going back to what you know, conditioning.
Yeah, it's just what you know. If I grew up with, I remember seeing my mother having like thick thighs and my aunts and everything having just big boobs and whatever. It's not that I'm attracted to them or I think they're sexy, but when I go out subconsciously, when I see that, I'm like, oh, that's familiar.
Conditioning.
I like that. Yeah, let me go to that because that's familiar. I mean that's all it is, and it feels good.
Well,
it feels good.
Can't argue with that. But I mean, so many men I told you I think bigger women are having a moment.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, y'all booming right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Like a moment where like finally like it's, you know, not like completely embarrassing to admit that you're attracted to bigger women.
But I think every body type has its waves. Because if you go back further to like around the time Marilyn Monroe, because she wasn't like this thin woman. She had some stuff on, some, you know.
She was a 16.
Yeah, she was a bigger woman. And then there used to be a time when bigger woman was the thing to, you know, you would want your woman to be bigger. So it just goes up and down.
Yeah, I wrote this line into a movie that, like, you know, being like curvy and having the use in me used to be a sign of success and wealth.
Yeah.
A skinny person was famine.
Yeah.
You were a famine.
Yeah, you were
You
poor.
were not
Yeah.
like, you are not just like, you know, like you are a symbol of death. Ooh, you know, like doesn't that just hit you like how far we came? You know, like you said, I think we swung down to the lowest we could go. And we just had these like stick figures for so many years. The Giselle, you know, and this doesn't mean she's not beautiful.
I'm not attracted to that though.
But that was
skinny.
that was the beauty standard.
Ugh.
And now, I mean, Ashley Graham's a huge part of it for sure. But Melissa McCarthy has, you know, very much helped. Rebel Wilson, even though I'm not a stan, we've, you know, mentioned this before. I'm not a stan of her for other reasons, but just yes, there's this like absolute bigger, like big butts and kind of like, you know, bigger, like you like this curvy thing, because it started a little bit ago, but it was like the Sofia Vergara version of curvy, like, so, you know, from Modern Family, where it's like just the like Jessica Rabbit, and that's not that's really unrealistic for most women, right? And because they'd be like, oh yeah, I love curves, and it's like, you mean just where the tits and
like,
the ass
like, you know,
come
you just
out?
like big boobs on skinny
just,
girls.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, you know. So that kind of happened, you know, 5 or so years ago, and then it's come now. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It really is, to be, because like for so long, our bodies were looked at as like disgusting. Like, not just like you're not a preference. We were looked like you are disgusting. And now I'm getting a lot of guys, like, I'll be like, have you dated like a bigger woman? Because like, I don't want to be anyone's fetish, and I also really want a man to know what a fupa is. Can we say that?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. Everyone's Googling. I want a man to know what that is. So I will ask, and I will get so many men like on the Tinder that are like
on the Tinder,
okay, wherever, you know, wherever they hang out, and they will go, a lot of them will be like, well, but you're not like big, and I'm like, no girl, like I'm big, but like they're, you know, their definition is changing, of like what is like big,
yeah.
which is interesting to me, right? Because like I mean, I'm still bigger than like Ashley Graham.
Are you really?
Maybe. I mean, not like by a lot. Like I'm a 16. Okay. But I also think Marilyn Monroe 16 was probably more like a 12 for us, you know, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, actually, I don't know. I mean, actually, the whole thing though, that a lot I have to mention that the BOPO, the body positive community, does not like about Ashley, because she's got haters.
Why?
Is that she, even though she's still bigger than the Sofia Vergara's, that she's still the idea of boobs and that small waist.
She doesn't have a small waist though.
But it goes in, it's flat. It's not small, it's flat. That she doesn't have a tummy.
Well, maybe I'm looking at the wrong Ashley Graham then.
Well, I'm talking about the women who the women who like.
Why can't you guys just take a victory, man? Why Gosh, man, girls are so mean to each other. Just, man, celebrate your victories.
What did I say earlier about negativity?
Man. You know what? And I strongly believe that women they hurt themselves with their progressiveness. It's not all men. I hear that, men held us back. I'm like, no, that's not true. That's not true.
Women are women's worst enemy. 100%. 100%. More women bring women down than men do.
So what are they saying about Ashley Graham? They saying that she shouldn't be the poster girl for the BOPO community. That's what Tess Holliday, because Tess Holliday's got like a very large stomach. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about like a belly. Mm-hmm. I'm talking like a little pooch. Yeah. Pooches are cute. Yeah. A little pooch cute, right? I'm talking about like the women who got like the aprons. Yeah. Like they could hold a full. That's what you call it, an apron.
The apron. They call it the apron. They could hold a full meal in that apron. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like when it hangs below the fupa. Mm-hmm. So now you guys are learning all the terms.
Fupa.
Aprons, fupa. But that's like I love what you just said. Why can we not take our victories? I'm all about it. I'm riding the Ashley wave. You better believe it. Mm-hmm. Thank you, girl, wherever you are. Thank you and your hot husband and everything that you like do.
He's a good looking guy. I've never seen him before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen him. Yeah. They have kids?
Not yet.
Oh man.
But they have a lot of sex.
Kids, yeah. I hope so.
Mm-hmm. I read her book, so
Was it good?
I know. You know, it was like a little too soon to write a book. Have you ever read those autobiographies where you're like a little too young to write an autobiography? Like it kind of ended where I thought like it should be the middle of the book. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it was like some good like summer reading, but I was like, she's like 31. I'm like, why are you writing a autobiography? Mm-hmm. Like you've got another 10 years before you should write this, but he waited. She
probably did it for the check. Maybe because they were maybe forcing her.
She did it for the money. You take it while you can. But he's very religious, and they did the whole we're going to re-virginize ourselves and not have sex till we're married.
Really?
How do you feel about that?
Hey, more power to him. More power. I think. Well, I'm like, if you have the right person in your life, I think that you'll do whatever. You know.
But how do you know that they're the right person if you don't get to test drive?
I'm the same way as you. I'm thinking the same way, but I don't know. It's a gamble. You got to take that gamble.
Because it's like, there's a part of that sounds like you said kind of sexy. Yeah. You know, like, oh, we're gonna wait till our wedding night, where it's gonna, that guy's gonna bust a nut in like 2 seconds too. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, they're not gonna be like the romance movie. Yeah. It's gonna be like 40-year-old version where it's like 2 seconds later, It's like, okay, want to do it again? Yes. But what happens if you're not sexually compatible? I mean, come on, like,
sex is a big part.
Have you? Well, Mom probably watches these, so we won't talk about it. But I mean, I have had experiences where I have really been into someone and looked forward to, you know, the coming together. No, that was actually not intended, and then it came out that way. And then I've been like, oh God, no, never again. Never.
I've never had. No, I'm lying. I've had it, but I've always see the silver lining. I'm like, okay, I can teach her. Ooh. When it works.
Is that different though for like women? Like,
yeah, it is different. Like, I think a guy is a little bit that you can.
Like when you say teach a woman, like you can teach her like some move, like the way to like move her body and stuff.
Because like in sex, like the guy is doing like.
He's doing most of the work.
Pretty much, yeah. So if she,
I feel bad.
A woman can't like screw up that much, you know. Well,
I really do.
She give like some bad head. You just, you know what I mean? Like
you
just tell her what to do and she fixes that.
Yeah.
If she's riding you, if she's just flopping around.
But women get scared because we get scared of that whole like, you know, men just say, oh, she just laid there. So it's like, I think like sometimes you're like, I'm trying to do something. Am I doing something? I don't know what I'm doing. Because a guy does do most of the work.
I'll just grab you, man, and just move you.
Yeah, I like that. I like that when a man does that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel
once you get the rhythm, then you're fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's different for every guy. You know that, right?
What you mean?
The rhythm, how he likes it. It's different for men.
Yeah.
Especially like certain positions. Boy, we went right to sex so fast. But there are certain positions that you can kind of like, okay, for being on top, and you know how you can go one direction, you can go the other direction.
Yes.
There are men that like it different. Like so you don't know until you're on top of him that which way he wants to go.
Yeah.
So I like a man that just takes the hips and is like, do it like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think if a woman is like a little bit, if a woman's on top, right, and she's a little bit confused on like which way, and like the rhythm just isn't matching up, I think the man should just, this is what I want you to, or like this is how it should, you know.
And not to be embarrassed about that as a woman, because it's not like you don't know what you're doing. You could have been up, you could have been in that bowl a million times, but everybody's different, or wants it different. Like depending on the time, like maybe like you've had sex with this guy before, but he wants it different that time, you know. So I love that. I love it when a man, you know. But I know there's women that, oh my God, after sex, you know, like totally dissecting everything, and you know, like you know, he's never gonna call. And it's like, if he allowed you to have bad sex, like you said, you know, like it didn't do anything to make it better, and you were never gonna have sex with him again anyways. So who cares? But I don't know how we got onto this subject. Oh, about saving them, they save themselves before marriage kind of thing. But that gets me, like this whole like, I'm gonna re-virginize myself. Once you've lost it, you've lost it. Yeah. Can you re-virginize yourself?
No, people just say it just because it sounds good, make themselves feel better.
They feel
I know you already had sex, like it's done. You did it already.
Yeah, like unless you got like some sort of like blowtorch and like one of those like, you know, saran wrap things that you know seals things up again, like you're done. Like,
but even if you have all that, even if you have like surgery, put your shit back together, you still already had sex. You just, you know what I mean? So why not? I can understand people saying, I want to wait with this person, you know, and do it the right way with this person, but like I don't think you can re-virginize.
Oh, but back. Oh, we were saying that you would actually think it'd be okay.
To what?
To like be with somebody, not have it, because you think that you could teach them. But what if, like, because then you're married and it's like already done, and like, what if the sex is just disaster? Like you've had bad sex. No?
I have, but it's...
You are a blessed man.
No, I have, but it hasn't been like consistent bad sex. You know what I mean? I haven't had...
It's like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's good.
No, I haven't had bad sex. Okay. Like, me and you, we have bad sex on the first night, right? But then the next time, because you learned that person. So I'm never that type of person. Oh, like sex was bad, I'm never talking to her again. I'm not like that, because I understand that everybody's different. So we have bad sex first night, we meet again the next week. It's not that bad, you know. And I will talk to you. Hey, we should do this, or why don't you try this? Do you think if I did that, would you like that? Super easy. Some people get uncomfortable, but I'm like, if I'm comfortable enough for you to see me naked and I see you naked, then I'm pretty sure I can ask you these couple questions.
Right.
You know.
But people don't. Yeah, they're gonna just go, oh, it was bad, write that person off.
Yeah, it's easier just to walk away than to just talk about it.
Find someone else. Find someone else on the gram. The Ashley gram. But yeah, no, I mean, I guess that takes like a level of like...
Such a dork.
I know, I don't know where it came from. But like, it just takes a level, I guess, of like trust that like you're with this person, and if it's bad, like you still would rather be with them having bad sex than not be with them at all.
So.
And that's something you got to answer for yourself. You And I guess they answered it. But apparently they have great sex, so. But I don't know. I mean, everybody's lives are perfect, you know.
On the gram. Never know, man. They're probably fighting right now. Probably punching each other in the face right now. You hungry? You want to get something to eat?
Let's do it. Isn't the battery dying?
Yeah, it's about to die anyway. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
It was great.
It's probably my best one yet.
No.
I think so.
You say that to all the women.
I do not.